gang violence and other kind of violence.
Get away! I could be at work, at school, in my car, and I can still get shot by the police. But I can get shot anywhere.
So it is what it is.
What's good, Shadow Realm? It's the Black Gen Z Mindset. Make sure you go ahead and like, comment, share, subscribe. Let's get into the video. All right, guys. So this one is pretty wild because it kind of shows the entitlement of not only the community but the LGBT community. In the fact that in this scenario, this LGBT member was playing loud music on his phone. And he was asked by a elderly glider male to politely turn the music off or down because this is a public environment. And he spazzes out like a lot of the emotional LGBT brothers do. And he just kind of acts like he can't be bothered with, just being a decent human being and having the courtesy to honor, everybody else's eating experience at this restaurant. So let's get into it.
Racism is still real in Georgia. I can't believe Bob tried me like that.
What was it that you was asking me before you interrupted me with my dinner? Because I turned it all the way down for you. Okay, but what was it that you was asking me? Is there a reason why you would ask me to turn my phone down when there's a band playing music that I don't give a fuck about hearing?
For one, he has his knife backwards. He's holding the knife backwards. For two, he's cursing at this man. This man did nothing to him but tell him to turn his music down. It's wild. And he claims that this is racism in Georgia. Not likely, man. You're reaching. And this is why a lot of times, we're looked at as pump fakers. These Jussie Smolletts, okay? This is another Jussie Smollett. He's just darker complexion. And, it's just embarrassing. You don't want to be the community who cried wolf, but that's what it's starting to look like.
Do you think it's appropriate for you to ask me, a 33-year-old, a black man, to turn his motherfucking phone down? You should know you shouldn't say a motherfucking thing to me. That's a thing. My hand shouldn't be shaking while I'm eating my motherfucking.
Wow, and this white guy, man, he held his composure. He handled the situation maturely, while this idiot is getting all emotional, talking about, oh, my hands shouldn't be shaking. Like, bro, you're stressing yourself out. Instead of doing all this, you should have said, oh, yeah, my bad. My fault. Let me put my headphones in. Let me put my AirPods in. If you want to listen to your own music, put in headphones. It's really that simple. But these people feel entitled to do whatever they want and can't be told anything about themselves. And that's a huge problem. The white guy, he didn't bring up race one time. He didn't do anything racist, but, I just think it's dangerous that just because somebody of a different race, specifically a white person, tells you to act right and, have courtesy for other people's experience at this restaurant by turning your music down, you shouldn't be called a racist just for that. It's wild. He damn near didn't even say anything to this guy, except for telling him to turn his music down, and immediately accused of racism. It's crazy.
That's a thing. My hand shouldn't be shaking while I'm eating my motherfucking chicken. Now what you better do is talk to do over there and leave me the fuck alone. You gonna ask another black man to turn his motherfucking phone down no time soon again.
We've learned 3 of the people killed during a string of shootings across the city last night were teenagers. The shootings all happened within 4 hours of each other, and you can see them on this map here. The first happened around 7 last night in the Lower Garden District. One of those victims was a 17-year-old who was just about to graduate high school. Whitney Miller has more.
Yes, students at McMain have been grieving all day today. That's why Inspire NOLA brought in mental health professionals to help support the students.
Zerrick Lebeau Jr. was 17 years old and only 12 days away from graduating from Eleanor McMain High School.
He was very gifted in math and science, and he was very quick-witted with the jokes.
Dr. Ashanta Wyatt, an educator and social justice advocate, knew young Lebeau. He was a former student of hers.
So you have this young man who was a student. He was a senior. He was about to graduate. Deleted by these super gremlins on demon time. You know, life cut short way too soon. A very often occurrence in the community. As we all know, New Orleans is the #1 murder capital per capita. Say that fast 5 times. But this type of stuff is not slowing down at all, and I continue to bring you guys content, and we continue to still have people who refuse to see the carnage that's going on within our own community, and it's sad.
She was shocked to learn he was killed overnight Thursday.
Children being murdered at the hands of other children, that tells us that we're in a crisis, and we are not reacting as if we are in a crisis.
3 teens were killed in the span of a few hours. Lebeau was shot on Rousseau Street, just outside the Pizza Hut, around 7 p.m. Another teen was killed on Lawrence Road at the Willows Apartments in New Orleans East. And a third teen was one of 2 people killed in a double shooting on Tupelo and North Claiborne.
Anytime a child dies, it's time to rethink the way we're attacking crime, rethink the way we are policing communities, rethink the resources that are available to people.
So rethink the way we're attacking crime and policing the community. So is that code for defund the police? Because you could tell she was a defund the policer.
In our community,
Wyatt believes it's a systemic issue that won't be resolved overnight, but says there are actions the city can take now.
I'm not against the curfew for children. I'm really not. I believe that at a decent hour, there should be no juveniles roaming the street of New Orleans. There definitely shouldn't be any kids out beyond midnight. There's nothing good that's going to come from roaming the streets of New Orleans as a young person, a juvenile, after midnight.
In New Orleans, Whitney Miller, Eyewitness News.
In addition to those homicides, 1 person was shot and killed and 2 others hurt in a shooting near Louisa and North Robertson around 10:30 last night.
Welcome to WGNO News. I'm Kurt Sprang.
And I'm Susan Roschen. A 5-hour violent crime spree last night in New Orleans has left 5 people dead.
3 of the victims were juveniles. 1 was days away from graduating high school. WGNO's LBJ joins us in studio now with tonight's crime report.
Yeah, Susie. Kurt, 5 lives taken, 3 of those juveniles, as you mentioned, at a time when police chief has been touting trends showing the violent crime was actually going down. We got reactions today.
So my immediate reaction is hurt and concern because the fact that we can guarantee almost that every day in New Orleans, a black woman, male, or teen will be killed is concerning.
Troy Glover is a strategist and community organizer.
I wonder if he's going to speak on who is actually doing the killing of these black women, children, young men.
He's also a resident reacting to the violent night in the city where 5 people were murdered. One of the 3 juveniles killed was 17-year-old Zerrick Lebeau, who was gunned down late in the afternoon on Rousseau Street. Lebeau was a senior at McMain High School. Inspire NOLA School CEO Jamar McNeely released a statement saying, "We as a family are tired of this senseless violence that plagues our youth. We must all work together to bring solutions to the problem of violence."
It's unfortunate. I just pray and hope that we come together to get to a point in time where we don't experience this.
Police Chief Michelle Woodfork also released a statement today saying,
there I have to stop it there. He says he wishes we're going to get into a point in time where we don't experience this, well, I mean, good luck, because this continues to be justified in the community. I mean, this is the game that's being played, and people are genuinely defending it, even though we hear all this stuff on the news about, oh, we want it to stop, we want it to stop. The community legitimately doesn't want nor care for this type of activity to stop.
At the NOPD, homicide detectives are working aggressively to identify the persons responsible for these offenses and to establish motives. For residents like Glover who want to see a safe city, the frustration with violent crime continues.
We're losing lives. And I don't know at what point we forgot, or we just didn't start not to care, or became desensitized to us losing lives every day. But one thing we can guarantee is that we'll lose another life.
That young man we talked about, Zerrick Lebeau, was set to graduate in less than 2 weeks from McMain High School. No other identities from the other 4 victims have been released, but police did confirm that there were 2 other juvenile victims.
One of the worst nights in a long time. Thank you, OBJ. Sure.
Yo, what's good, BGZM News 17 family? I'm at the corner of Jesse Jackson and Marcus Garvey, and I got some bad news for you. As you can see, I lost my job. I'm out here living in cardboard boxes outside of boarded up vacant homes. YouTube said I'm done getting money out here in these streets. They even took my funky ass suit. So anything right now would help. So go ahead and hit that Cash App, hit that PayPal, hit that GoFundMe. Hell, cop the merch. Or if you want to make the long-term commitment to the Jinquavius Jackson Fund, join the Patreon so that I can continue to put out top-notch content each and every day. Also, check out the Rumble, where there is absolutely no censorship. Link in the description box below.
Hey, yo, ain't that nigga Jinquavius? Yo, I recognize.
No, that's not me no more.
Hey, yo, run your pop.
Y'all tell me what they say.
Do the opposite of Antonio Brown and take all
What
your
more do you want from me?
In New Orleans.
And now we've learned that a high school student set to graduate in just a matter of weeks was one of the victims. The NOPD is investigating 4 separate shootings, which ended in 5 people dead and 2 additional people injured overnight. The student who died, and Eleanor McMain Sr., who was gunned down on Rousseau Street.
And that's where we find WDSU reporter Shay O'Connor, who is live. Shay, what do we know about this teenage victim?
Travis and Gina, I'm told that Zerrick Lebeau had actually just recently taken his cap and gown photos. He was so very much looking forward to walking across the stage. He was set to graduate from Eleanor McMain on May 9th, but now his family is planning his funeral.
When I got the telephone call, it was like something had been hit me in my stomach. It was like unreal. And then when I made it off the bridge and I got here and I seen the people out and I seen the yellow tape, it was just like, it still was like it's unreal.
Darlene says Zerrick Lebeau was like a nephew to her. Friday morning, she came out to the place where he was killed, still in disbelief.
It happened every day in the city, but it really hit hard when it's close.
Friends say the 17-year-old was either leaving or going into Pizza Hut around 7 p.m. Thursday night when he was ambushed, shot multiple times along this sidewalk. Lebeau is one of 5 people killed Thursday night in New Orleans in 4 separate shootings across the city.
This student was respectful. He was bright. He was a joy to work with. Our teachers really poured into him a lot to get him to this day.
Jamar McNeely says Lebeau was a senior at Eleanor McMain, just days away from graduation after working so very hard.
He went to extra counseling. He went to extra tutoring after school to make sure he can fulfill.
And it's just a shame that this young man worked so hard for his life to be treated the way that it was by the community. This is what you guys have to understand. This is what you guys have to understand. These people are completely loss in the community. I mean, it's getting to a point of no return, unfortunately. And even after I post this video, I'm sure that I'm gonna have some more dissenters who are gonna tell, oh, take this down, da 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 da. They don't want the message to get out, y'all.
Feel what he was trying to accomplish, and he got there. And now he would not be able to walk across that stage just to a senseless act. It's a definitely unfortunate day in our city.
McNeely says the teen was heavily involved in his senior class. Now family and friends will have to deal with the grief of losing a teen who was looking forward to his future.
I want it to stop. When it's going to stop? How many more children are we going to have to lay to rest before the violence stops? It's like these children are living in a world of their own, and the adults, we just here watching everything that's just happening.
Yep, and they ain't gonna stop until the sisters come get your kids.
And on your screen right now, a statement from Interim Police Chief Michelle Woodfork. She says, in part, these senseless acts of violence are disheartening and won't be tolerated. She goes on to say the department is working aggressively to identify the persons responsible. And I'm told the other young person that was shot on last night lived along Lawrence Road in New Orleans East. But that being said, if you do have any information at all about these separate 4 shootings, you're being urged to contact Crime Stoppers at 822-1111. Reporting live, Shay O'Connor, WDSU News.
All right, Shay, thank you. WDSU is working to get you more details on these crimes as the NOPD works to find the shooters. For what we know so far and new developments, you can go right now to WDSU.com and, of course, our free mobile app.
I'm Lee Zerrick.
And I'm Meg Gatto. An Eleanor McMain student just 12 days away from graduating lost his life to gun violence.
He is one of 3 juveniles killed in 4 separate shootings in New Orleans. Someone shot Zerrick Lebeau last night as he stood outside of a string of businesses near Chapatoulas and Rousseau Street. So Lauren McCoy spoke with the 17-year-old's family and joins us live now with more.
That's right, Lee and Meg. I will say it's a very solemn day here in the St. Thomas neighborhood. A family in mourning this evening, and police say a 17-year-old Zerrick Lebeau was shot and killed right here on Rousseau Street. And earlier today, Inspire NOLA did confirm that the 17-year-old was shot and killed last night around 7. He was a senior at Eleanor McMain and was just weeks away from graduating. The NOPD responded to a call of a shooting, and he was found suffering from a gunshot wound and pronounced dead at this scene. And we spoke to his aunt, Rosalie Tennessee, not too long ago, and she says he was gearing up for prom and graduation.
I heard the gunshots myself. I didn't never come to the conclusion it'd be someone I know, because all the time, in neighborhoods, hear gunshots and stuff. But I mean, it was a tragedy just to know, people howling out my name, knowing it was a loved one. Someone making a mistake of my son, which is my nephew, so definitely like my son. It was just a tragedy yesterday.
And we're also told that Zerrick was bright, inquisitive, and gifted in science from one educator who knew him. Inspire NOLA did send out a statement today saying, in part, yesterday, our Eleanor McMain and Inspire NOLA family lost a senior scholar to gun violence in our New Orleans community who was scheduled to graduate in 12 school days. We as a family are tired of the senseless violence that plagues our youth. And it went on to say our thoughts and prayers are with the family of our recent scholar lost and all of the families touched by violence in our community. And I will say Zerrick's aunt tells me that they did go to the coroner's office today and that the funeral arrangements are pending at this time. Live in the Lower Garden District, I'm Lauren McCoy, Fox 8, Local First.
Thank you, Lauren. The Eleanor McMain Sr. is one of 3 juveniles gunned down in 4 separate incidents.
And all 5 people died in a matter of hours across New Orleans. Natasha Robin has the story.
Because people get angry. And you had others shot the same night. I mean, this city is on fire. It's on fire. And people are, I know we like to make it seem like people are waking up, but I just don't agree.
Angry and they just want to pick up a gun and shoot somebody. They make it that simple.
A boarded up window and bullet holes marked the spot where 17-year-old Zerrick Lebeau lost his life when someone started shooting at Chapatoulas and Rousseau Street. Lebeau was just 12 days from graduating from Eleanor McMain. Inspire NOLA released this statement. We as a family are tired of this senseless violence that plagues our youth. We must all work together to bring solutions to the problem of violence. Lebeau was one of 5 people murdered in a matter of hours across New Orleans.
I was just here before that happened. And I just took off and I went around the corner going home because I live on Delray in St. Claude. And when I got around that corner, I heard pop, 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 pop. I said, whoa.
The 6,000 block of North Claiborne was riddled with bullets when someone opened fire in front of the Magnolia store.
In this parking lot, they hang out here and there'll be a lot of young people in this parking lot.
Police say one man.
You hear it? A lot of young people, a lot of super teen gremlins on demon time. And they posted up at the store. You know, this is typical of things that we see in the community, going on in the community, where, you know, dudes are just posted up outside of a convenience store and they're up to no good.
A man was shot in the head and died before help could arrive. Also, a juvenile was shot, and he later died at the hospital.
Damn.
John Henderson wants the killing to stop.
The things that are going on around here are senseless. You know, these young people are just shooting each other, and I don't understand.
Investigators were then called to New Orleans.
You don't understand it? I mean, this has been a long time coming, and it's only intensified after the riots in, you know, 2020 and after the pandemonium. These things have only intensified, and the community is just acting clueless as to, like, we don't even know the issue or we don't know the problem. Like, come on, dude. You can't be that ignorant. You can't be that slow. I mean, let's talk about cultural factors. Let's talk about the music. Let's talk about the families, you know, the households. There's a lot of different reasons why these things are going on. Let's talk about the apathy, okay, when these things do happen. Let's talk about the lack of outrage and outcry from the community. It's a real thing.
East, where they say another teenager lost his life to gun violence in the 7,000 block of Lawrence Road. From there, the killing continued when police say they were called to North Robertson and Louisa around 10:30. 2 cars crashed. In one of them, the driver, a man, was shot, and his passenger, a woman, was also shot, but she died from her injuries. The driver of the other vehicle was hurt.
But it's extremely difficult when you have people that are hunting people down and intentionally going out and killing people.
Raphael Goenechi with the Metropolitan Crime Commission points out the city hasn't experienced 5 people murdered in a 24-hour period since March of last year.
It's an anomaly to have 5 in a 24-hour period. It is something that I know the police department is taking very seriously. They were spread all over town.
NOPD Superintendent Michelle Woodfork released this statement. These senseless acts of violence are disheartening and will not be tolerated. They threaten our public safety and affect everyone in our community, including our officers responding to and investigating these crimes. Meanwhile, people who live and work in the city say enough is enough.
I don't want to be locked in my house and scared to come out. I want to be able to come to the store and get my beer and my cigarettes or whatever I want, you know, without worrying about getting shot. I'm fed up. Yes, ma'am. Very fed up.
The NOPD says they're actively investigating the murders that unfolded in the last 24 hours, but they need the public's help. If you know anything, you're asked to call Crime Stoppers. At NOPD headquarters, Natasha Robin, Fox 8, Local First.
Gang violence and other kind of violence.